Were there any moments that you were thinking about backing out or trying to talk yourself out of it or having doubts or maybe getting a little bit of apprehension or a little bit of fear setting in?
Yeah.
Because you booked this in September. The trip's not until, for another month or so. What was going through your mind? What were some of the struggles leading up to that?
Yeah, so there were a few. So actually before this trip in February, I took a 10-day trip, but to North Carolina and Georgia. And again, like by myself, and that was just kind of a let's go explore the outdoors and that type of thing. During in that trip, I experienced like a panic attack, an anxiety attack. I didn't know what I thought I was having a heart attack. So I drove myself to the ER in
Wow.
February in North Carolina. And they were like, we think it's anxiety, like, are you going through something? And I was like, oh, like, hold my beer. Let me tell you about what I'm going through. Um,
Wow. Hello, and welcome back to the MBX Podcast, where we explore life's experiments and push the boundaries of personal growth. I am your host, Mike Baltazar, and today we're diving into a topic that resonates with so many of us: trying something new, stepping outside our comfort zone. Joining me is someone whose journey truly embodies the power of transformation and resilience. I'm thrilled to introduce Ericka Eller, a passionate coach and advocate for sustainable, grace-filled success. Through her coaching, Ericka helps individuals elevate their work, relationships, and health by creating personalized strategies that lead to long-term results. She focuses on increasing productivity, energy, and wellness while maintaining the grace and support that makes the journey sustainable. In today's conversation, Ericka shares a very recent experience of stepping outside of her comfort zone, navigating challenges, and embracing change as an opportunity for growth and enlightenment. So grab your notebook, settle in, and get ready to be inspired by Ericka Eller as we explore how trying something new can truly transform your life. Let's jump in.
Hi,
Hey, Ericka, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing amazing. Good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. I know you're extremely busy.
Yeah, so I didn't mean for that to sound panic, but I was feeling a little panic. I actually feel better, so there's a little bit of wiggle room. I jammed on some stuff, so
Rock on. Rock
yeah.
on. Awesome. Well, we're gonna definitely catch up here later this month. We'll grab some coffee, catch up. We have a lot of catching up to do. But the reason why I want to reach out is because you did a post on LinkedIn that, but the timing was almost spot on with a podcast episode that I had dropped last week that talked about it's okay to try new things. Now, what you did was you went on this awesome trip by yourself. You took a leap of faith, and I just want to hear your story. Like, I don't want to, mess with it too much. I just want to hear it from your mouth because I think it really illuminates what I try to encourage so many of my friends and family to do. And that's like get outside your comfort zone, try new things. And it's kind of amazing what opens up when you push those limits, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, how far do you want me to
You can start
go?
at the very beginning. It's all yours.
Yeah, 1977. Here we go. Um, yeah, no, so I think you probably know, but I lost my husband unexpectedly in 2003 at the beginning of the year. So it's almost 2 years now. And that just really rocked my world. I'd gone through divorce before. I think that's when I had met you, like after the divorce, and you helped me
Yeah.
with the purchase of my own like first house on my own.
I remember that day like it was yesterday, and I was so proud of you. It was so awesome to see you like just like that's another example of you stepping out in a leap of faith, and you did it. And I think that's why I stayed connected with you all these years since, is because like you're one of those really cool people that, when life, throws its punches, you roll with them and make the best of it.
Yeah, I try. And like you, I think my faith, well not I think, I know my faith is a key piece of why I'm still standing, honestly. But yeah, so experiencing just such a depth of a relationship with Jeff and then losing that. It was really only 6.5 years after we had been married. That just really rocked my world, kind of rocked my foundation. Still felt like, the foundation was there, with my faith, but it just brought a lot of the, like, life is fleeting. There's just this delicate frailty and not knowing what tomorrow holds, and really wanting to live by the words and the same encouragement that I give to my clients. I'm a life and health coach, and a COO at Soul Space, but encouraging my clients to just try new things. And when it feels hard, like to look for those glimpses of joy. And so this opportunity just kind of popped up. I was actually supposed to take another trip at the end of September. I was supposed to go to Georgia, meet a friend there. And because of the hurricane, that trip got canceled like last minute. And so American Airlines was like, hey, we're not going to charge you if you want to change your flight. No change fee. And I was like, maybe I'll go to London.
Wow.
So I totally just booked this trip. It's something that I've always wanted to do. My husband and I had talked about like Christmas at London before, and we just never booked it. And I think that was the other piece, in knowing that like there were a lot of things that we had talked about wanting to do together, but didn't get to them. And me thinking like, I feel like I still have a lot of life to live. Like I don't know like what God's going to give me, but wanting to truly just grasp this life, and enjoy it to its fullest, and just experience that abundant life. So I totally, like, on a whim, my daughter came home and I was like, so I'm going to London. She was like, what? Like, I was like, not going to Georgia, but I am going to London. So yeah, I booked it. I booked it at the end of September, and I left the day before Thanksgiving.
Wow.
Stayed for 9 days, and I think people were just blown away by the idea that I was traveling internationally alone as a woman. That it was like this dangerous thing. People were like, "Who are you going with?" And I'm like, Jesus.
I love it.
Is just he and I, no real itinerary. Had some like loose ideas of things that I wanted to see, but I was really just kind of leaving it to like whimsy and where did the wind blow today? Where was I going to go? And one of the things that I shared on that LinkedIn post was just that, like, just do it, like, don't sit and think about it and dream about, like, well, maybe one day, because we will come up with so many excuses of why we can't do it. Like, it's not the right time. It's never the right time. I don't know that it was the right time, but it was like the perfect time. It was super weird to be disconnected from work for so long, and like to have that time difference. So it's like, well, I was, up and at 'em, like everybody's sleeping, it's kind of like winding down. So I think that was just a really good reset for me. Just explored, and there were some hard moments. There was kind of that like desire, like I wish Jeff was here to share this with me. Like I wish I had somebody, that like I could, be like texting and sending pictures to. But also I think it was just this extreme growth of like, I can do hard things, and I don't need to be in a relationship to experience that fulfillment. And to know that I think God did such an amazing work in that time to allow me the self-reflection to like look back, of like where I've come from, where I've been, and like not just after losing Jeff, but I mean like life, just like
Right.
all these things, kind of going through the stones of remembrance. And it was really cool. And I don't know, I'm empowered now, and I'm like,
Whew.
where
Love
else?
it.
Yeah, where am I going next? Like, let's
Oh my goodness. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. So, I'm gonna get to like your number one takeaways, since you've done the trip. But before we go there, I do want to just kind of just pick your brain, find out Were there any moments that you were thinking about backing out or trying to talk yourself out of it or having doubts or maybe getting a little bit of apprehension or a little bit of fear setting in?
Yeah.
Because you booked this in September. The trip's not until, for another month or so. What was going through your mind? What were some of the struggles leading up to that?
Yeah, so there were a few. So actually before this trip in February, I took a 10-day trip, but to North Carolina and Georgia. And again, like by myself. And that was just kind of a let's go explore the outdoors and that type of thing. During in that trip, I experienced like a panic attack, an anxiety attack. I didn't know what I thought I was having a heart attack. So I drove myself to the ER in
Wow.
February in North Carolina. And they were like, we think it's anxiety, like, are you going through something? And I was like, oh, like, hold my beer. Let me tell you about what I'm going through. Um,
Wow.
and so I'm grateful. Like there wasn't anything there, other than like just some unchecked anxiety. So I'm a huge advocate. Obviously, I work at a practice, a mental health practice, so oh, are you there?
I'm here. Yep.
Oh, I just lost you. Where'd you go? Oh, okay, there you are. All right. I don't know what happened. So therapy has been a big piece, a consistent piece since I lost my husband. I mean, even before that, off and on, but it's been a consistent piece. So after that happened, I think that there was kind of this fear that that would happen again, especially
Mm.
I'm going into a different country. I really don't know anybody. Like when I was in North Carolina and Georgia, when that happened, I actually did have some friends that were close by. Um, and so that felt reassuring to me. But to think, I kept going to the place of you are going to an entirely new country. You will not know anybody. What if this happens again? Like, what are you going to do? And so like working through that like with my therapist and just kind of playing that out, like what are the resources that I'm going to have, what are the strategies going to be when I feel that rising up, if I feel that rising up. And so for sure, um yes, that was a thing, and then people just kind of like, oh, like be aware, like there's a lot of pickpockets, and like just kind of this like, what am I doing? Like, have I lost my mind? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna go into a different country and just wander the city and just walk everywhere. And what if I get attacked on the tube? Like, my brain went to worst case scenario, and I had to do very frequent, just pausing, pulling back, and like, okay, what do you know to be true about yourself?
Love that.
And you figured out hard things before. This will not be the exception. God has been with you before. This will not be the exception. So yeah, for sure. I mean, even like the days leading up, I was kind of like, what am I doing? Like, is this wise? Um, but I think I did a really good job of just planning and preparing and talking to people that had been there. I do have some friends that travel there pretty frequently. And so chatting with them about like the area that I was going to, so feeling safe, connecting with the people at the hotel. I mean, they knew me, from like emails and stuff. So yeah, there was definitely just that insecurity. What if I get robbed? What if, whatever, all the things.
So
All
you press through all of that. You're at the airport. While you're at the airport, you have your boarding pass. You're waiting to board. Are you getting second thoughts, or are you like you're all in? You're in a comfortable spot. You can't wait. You're excited. Is that what was going on?
I think at that point, once I got to the airport in Phoenix, it was just like, all right, like I'm in it. I'm in it. I'm going. I've got just a few hours before my flight. Um, Here we go. And at that point, I think I was settled. I was fairly settled. During the trip, I kind of had like some moments, where it was kind of like, oh gosh, like I'm just walking in this neighborhood. I don't know what's going on. Um, but for the most part, I mean, the people in London, like they're lovely and they're so helpful and kind. And it was funny that like a couple of people that like I would stop to ask directions or questions about like using the tube. Both people were American, so that was kind of funny. Like, oh, like you're American, all right. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was incredible, and I think that there could have been. I mean, there was plenty of opportunity to be like, you know what, never mind, not going to do this. But what I kept thinking of is, I don't want to get to the end of my life and wish, oh, like I wish I would,
Ooh.
you know, I wish I would have taken the time. I wish I would have experienced this. And because it was something that I've wanted to do for so long, um, yeah, I didn't want to regret it. And I think also I really felt this obligation to my kids, like
Mm.
to show them like,
Ooh,
yeah,
that's big.
things are uncomfortable and we can do it.
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. That resonates with me a ton, more than you can even imagine.
Yeah.
So, so you're in the trip, and while you're in the trip, are you at any point in the process wanting to tap out early, take an earlier flight home, or were you just like totally enthralled from one moment to the next?
I think it was never a tap out, never that. Um, I knew like I was in it. I was gonna stay. Like I had prepaid for the hotel. Like might as well stay here, right? Like why would I leave early? But I will say, like by the end, I was ready. Like I was ready to be home, kind of back to like my rhythm with with my kids at work, doing that day to day, that comfortable. Get back to comfortable because I felt like I was stretching, every single day. And I think also like just the fatigue. I didn't sleep super well there for whatever reason. Most of the time, I didn't sleep really well. And so I think just the fatigue with that, jet lag. Um, and man, it's a walkable city, so like I was walking a lot. Like it was like 25,000 steps a
Wow, that's
day.
awesome.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. But I think I was just like, oh, like by the last day, I knew like, okay, today has to be like a low key day. I'm just like, I'm just feeling it at this point. But it was never a like, okay, I'm just gonna turn around and go home. Like it wasn't that because I think at that point, like I was there, like just see it through. It was really incredible. And just the way that like God showed up throughout the whole experience. Yeah, I just wanted more of that.
Love that. Love that. So would you do it again?
Yeah, I
And
will
then
do it.
and then what would you do differently, if anything at all?
Well, I won't get one of those little closet size rooms, that's for sure. Yeah, they do like these single rooms. I didn't realize it. I mean, like how small, but it was like the size of my office, like it was not very large. With like a little itty bitty bathroom like off to the side. So I would for sure just like splurge on the accommodations a little bit more to give myself just some space and not feel so tight. Um, but I don't know. I really loved just the serendipity of
Mm.
day. I think that I would probably still go like really loosely planned. And just kind of feel like it was super cool because at the end of every day, like before I went to bed, I would just kind of go through my list of things that I had wanted to like see or do, and then kind of try and group things in like areas and then be like, okay, like what are we going to do tomorrow? Like what do we want to see? But it was super cool. I saw I don't say a Broadway show. It was like a Broadway show, but it was in London. I saw The Lion King there. Um, I am a huge reader, and so I went to so many bookstores. Um,
Awesome.
and like the museums are free there. And so like just spent hours just roaming around and did so much learning. There's so much history there. Tower of London. Um, Went to St. Paul's Cathedral, Westminster Abbey. Yeah, just so many things. Saw the palaces, not inside. They weren't open for tours or anything at that time, but so many Christmas markets. Um, yeah,
That's
really,
awesome. So,
really.
so what are a couple really big takeaways that you've taken from that trip? It could be personal, spiritual, mental, emotional. It could be anything. What are a couple big takeaways for you personally?
Yeah, the first thing was just reminding myself I can do hard things. I have
Love it.
survived 100% of difficult things up to this point in my life, and I can continue. I have also really just been clinging to this idea of growth happens in the discomfort. And so, like, just reminding myself, like, that is so key. It's something that I talk to my clients about, when they are resistant in that messy middle, and, being in the valley. And we can't have the mountaintop experiences without like the deep sorrow or, the hardship of the valley. Like we just, it's not the same. You don't experience deep joy without deep sorrow.
So true.
And I think that that's just part of life. Like none of us are unscathed through it. And you know, love and loss, like it goes hand in hand. And yeah, I think just me knowing that God has got me. He hasn't brought me here to leave me here.
Mm.
And yeah, that my story's not done. I think that's been the biggest thing.
Love it. I love it. It's so encouraging for so many different reasons. Number one, because, I know your history over the last, 10 plus years. And so just to see, so many of your highs. And of course, like you mentioned earlier, there's some lows in there, the loss of Jeff and so on and so forth. And so just to see you step out in that and to catch a glimpse of it on that LinkedIn post. I just had to talk to you, and being that I had just recorded an episode, like literally days before I saw that, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna see if we could just do a quick recording. That way, I could just kind of illustrate it, not so much in my words, but in someone else's words, where they stretched themselves, they tried something new, and then just like you alluded to a few moments ago, it just change your trajectory. You stretched yourself, you tried something new, and now you have just that much more confidence to live a little bit differently and then to take on that next stretch, that next challenge. And that's how we grow. That's how we enjoy some of the cool things that are out there. It's okay to play safe sometimes, but to play safe all the time, I think is a waste of life, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think if I would not have taken that trip, I mean, like it was only 9 days, right? But I think it did something. Like I just sense a change, like in my spirit of
Whew,
there's like this buoy effect, of
love
like,
it. That's awesome.
dang, okay, like I'm gonna make it out. Like, it doesn't make the loss any easier.
Right.
But I think it's just that again, just my story is not done,
Love it.
and
Well, love it. I can't wait to see more of your story, whether it's on LinkedIn or, some of the other things you put out there. But nonetheless, we will catch up later this month, grab a cup of coffee, catch up. And I know you're busy. I know that you're pressed for time, so I'm going to let you get back to your day. But thank you so much for just taking a few moments to do this. And we'll be in touch real, real soon.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, Erica, God bless. Have a great weekend.
See you soon. Bye.